Okay, is everybody ready? Can you hear, is this loud? It doesn't feel like my mic is loud. I don't feel. It keeps, oh, there it goes. Okay, it keeps going off. All right, better. Welcome, everybody, and Happy New Year's. Welcome to the City Council regular meeting on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, and it is 6:01. Everybody is here. Welcome, council members. Everybody's present and accounted for, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You can be seated. Just FYI, I've already let the Ryan Rangers know they'll speak during their agenda item. Okay, looks like we have one citizen signed up, John Andrews. I think you know all the rules, John. If you'll state your name and address and realize that we can't respond to your questions, but we can direct you
Am I on?
where to
I'm
go.
on.
Yeah.
John Andrews, 9403 Gloxinia. Okay. And I just wanted to share with you, a couple of weeks ago, the neighbor was walking along the street, walking their dog, and they came up and told us that we had water leaking out into the street. And we went out there, we called the city services, and within minutes, they were there to, see what the story was. And I think it was, if I get them right, Reuben, Mark, and Drew. Trust me, it was extremely messy. And yes, they established that the break was on the city side, but they got it repaired and got it, got our water back on. And then 2 nights ago, we found this dead deer in our backyard. We called Animal Services, and they came out the next day and took care of that. And the reason I'm telling you all this is to explain why last night my wife was telling me that how fortunate we are to be living here.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We love our employees. They're doing a great job. So on to number 4, consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside of the consent agenda. So we've got 3 items on the consent agenda. Do any council member want to pull something for further discussion? Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve as consent agenda.
In a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, on to number 5, staff reports, city manager report. Ryan?
Mayor and council, this is the new revised agenda. We'll be starting obviously with the new year. As far as employee volunteer recognition, there was nothing this month for recognition of employee service, and then 8 hours for volunteer for our water bill stuffers. Just as far as my report, just some general items. There's the water CIP is in its draft form. This plan was presented to the Water Commission last month. We'll continue with further review later this month by the Water Commission. Working on a couple other projects will be underway soon. The development of the street CIP will be underway soon. Also, an analysis going to be done on Old Nacogdoches Road here soon. Last month, we met with City of Schertz to discuss the feasibility of developing an agreement for sewer service. And then the Water Commission is also reviewing a draft ordinance for sewer, which will eventually be in front of City Council. In the coming months, I'll bring forward to City Council an update on our building codes, a permit fee schedule, And then P&Z is going to start tackling an updated subdivision ordinance, which will eventually be in front of City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have any council questions for Ryan?
As always, the departmental information is in there, so if you have any questions directly to any one of the department directors, they're here to answer any questions.
Jim has a question.
No question. I was just
Oh.
going to say thanks to Stephen. It looks like he finished out the year strong on the water and did a good use of finishing out the resources for the year. So thanks, Stephen.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, as Ryan mentioned, all the department reports are in your packet. They're posted online along with the agenda, so everybody has access to them. If you have any additional questions, the staff is still here to answer them. Let's go on to 5.2, City Engineer Project Report. Hank?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. City Manager actually did a really good job of summarizing a lot of things that we're working on, but I did want to highlight one piece on the report that I gave you. The municipal ground storage tank is now back online and in use, so that was a good project. We're closing out that project right now, but Stephen was able to get that up and running this week, so that will be off the report next month, but it was a successful project.
Any questions for our city engineer? Thank you. I know you're working on lots of great things. Thanks. On to 6, approvals and authorizations.
I think, Mayor, real quick before we move on, Marissa, I know you wanted to give a note about the elections. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone that the filing period starts next Wednesday, the 14th, to file for a place on the ballot. For this year, the places that are up for election are place 1, place 4, and place 5. And then the last day to file is February 13th. However, I do not recommend that you wait until the last day. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Marissa. All right. 6, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. 6.1, Board of Adjustment appointments. Ryan?
Mayor and Council, right now there's a need to provide some appointments to the Board of Adjustment. I think right now there is one open for a permanent and then 1 or 2 for an alternate. So if anybody has any nominations, we'd like to have them at this time. Correct, Marissa?
Yeah, I wanted to recommend Jennifer Dalton. She's currently an alternate, and so I think that's just a logical move to have her step into that role. She's lived here for 19 years. She's been involved in her HOA, on the Board of Adjustments for her HOA, as well as alternate for us. So I think it's just a perfect fit.
Thank you. And I have a recommendation for an alternate. Got Carolyn Cohen. She is here today. Actually, if you have any questions for her, just want to brag on her a little bit. She gave us her resume. She moved here in 2006 after retiring in the Washington, D.C. area. Native San Antonian, 4th-generation Texan. She happened to be my backdoor neighbor when I first moved here. Ms. Cohen retired from the Senior Executive Services, where she served as the Senior Human Resources Career Advisor and Director of Human Resources Policy for the U.S. Department of the Interior, Washington, D.C. Prior to that appointment, she served as the Command Director of Civilian Personnel and Deputy Director of Personnel at Headquarters Air Education and Training Command, Randolph Air Force Base. She's assisted in directing personnel programs impacting more than 86,000 military and civilian personnel. She's held numerous other leadership positions in the human resources career field at 6 different Air Force bases. For outstanding work in her career field, she has received a number of awards, including the highest federal award for career employees, the Presidential Rank Award, meritorious. I could go on and on, but I'm happy that she's volunteered, and I'd like to bring her name forward. She's very active in the community, and I think most of you have met her at one point or another. And as I said, if you have any questions, she's here. Okay. Any other nominations?
Yeah, I had somebody approach me this evening, actually, and it should be somebody that most of us up here already know, Karen Diaz. She's on P and Z. She was expressing interest to me to be on the Board of Adjustment. So I'm going to throw her name up there as a nomination, and we can put her on probably as an alternate to begin with, but I think she's been on P and Z for like almost 9 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
there's plenty of background there. You know, she's been very active and everything. I
Right.
don't have a resume on her, but she's been on P and Z forever, so.
Yes, yes. Marissa, would you explain membership and alternates as far as BOA goes, how that works?
Sure. So the 5 regular members are, the only difference between regular members and the alternate members are basically like who's available for each meeting. Since the meetings aren't regularly scheduled, I send out an email with typically 2 dates that work for the city of, hey, who do we have a quorum for these dates? And if I have more people respond saying they're available for one date, that's the date that will be chosen. That could be all 3 alternates are available and only 2 regular members are available. So the regular status or just the alternate status, there's not really that much of a difference. For example, Jennifer Dalton was an alternate for the past 2 years, but she was up at the dais and voted on every decision the Board of Adjustment made because we had a regular member that didn't show up to any meetings. So it kind of just depends on who's available when. Also, we don't have anything currently pending before the Board of Adjustment, so you never know how many meetings they're gonna have. I think in 2024, they had 1 training session and they had 1 action item. 2025, I believe they had 2 different action items, so 2 meetings in a whole year. So they don't meet as frequently as the other commissions, but it really just depends on when we have items come forward. I just want to make sure that it's clear, though, that if Karen Diaz is appointed to the Board of Adjustment, she would need to resign from planning and zoning. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that.
Can I ask a question about that?
Can she ask a question about that? Yes? Okay.
Yes?
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
yeah.
So I perused the ordinance 210, and I did not see anything where it says you could only be on 1 commission or board or something. Is it something special with Board of Adjustment where you cannot be on another commission? Because there have been others that have been on 2 commissions at the same time.
I think that would be a question for the city attorney, because I know previously our previous city attorney told us that since the Board of Adjustment is something that's established by law, it's different than your water commission, than what was previously the Quarry Commission, or all the other commissions that we've had, and that it was not advisable that we have somebody serving on the Board of Adjustment and any other commission at the same time. We turn his mic on.
Did I just turn it on? Okay, I did. Hey, I'm learning how to work it here. Yes, the Board of Adjustment, those type of things, it really just needs to be their only board that they serve on. That really, and it's just best that way.
So I would be willing to resign from P&Z. I've been on there for almost 9 years.
Okay, is there a certain order this needs to happen in? Can we nominate her before she resigns?
I would ask her to resign before, because P&Z essentially, for lack of a better word, it goes hand in hand with the Board of
Right.
Adjustment. Those variances and everything, so she would need to resign and then be appointed to Board of Adjustment.
Okay,
That's what I would prefer.
so we could table that
So it's
until.
cleaner.
Okay, just so table that nomination until next month? That makes
Yes.
sense?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, can I get a motion based on the recommendations? Carolyn Cohen, so it would be recommending Jennifer Dalton for membership and Carolyn Cohen for one of the alternate positions. Is that correct, Marissa? You're shaking your head a little bit over there. Okay,
That's what I have written down.
okay.
See if I can pull this off. I move that we nominate Jennifer Dalton as a primary member of the Board of Adjustment and then Jennifer Cohen as an alternate.
Carolyn Cohen.
Carolyn Cohen?
Yeah.
Carolyn Cohen as an alternate member to the Board of Adjustment.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? No? Let's take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. Thank you. We look forward to working with our new members. 6.2, interview panel recommendation for appointment to Planning and Zoning Commission. Ryan?
Mayor and council, this is to fill appointments to the planning and zoning. Mr. Kareem Jackaman, our chairman, is here to give a nomination or recommendation for nomination for a candidate.
Yes, hi, good evening, Mayor, Council. Today, we met with our, the candidate, Rodney Apgar. Hopefully I got that right. I apologize, Rodney, but we interviewed with him. He's a retired Air Force. Great. He's been living in the city of Garden Ridge for about 17 years. He's very excited to serve, and we're grateful to have him to volunteer since we have 2 vacancies on planning and zoning. He's a great candidate that will fit well with planning and zoning. He's served on in his HOA. He's served on the board of directors in his HOA community for a few years, and so I think he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge, and his management as well in his prior work experience. So recommendation is to appoint Rodney Apgar to the planning and zoning to fill the vacancy. And I'm not sure what place. Marissa?
Both of the terms expire at the same time, so
Okay.
it doesn't really matter.
Any questions? Any questions about Rod Apgar's nomination?
I think council can accept the nomination, and then also if council has any other nominations they may want to bring forward, because there is another opening. We can
Yes.
take that up next month from that standpoint.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yes, I actually have a nomination for one of the terms for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Christopher Johnson, he is a resident of Garden Ridge. He's lived here for about 7-8 years. His background is that he is a captain, manager in the police department, and he's been that for a couple of years now. He's really good at policies and procedures. He's also a business owner. He's a business owner, and he's been a business owner for a long time. He has a very good background in running a business, so I think he'd be a good addition to this commission as well. He's actually submitting an application and submitting a resume, and that should be pretty much here pretty soon. He should be having all that online. That way he can kind of schedule the next steps of what y'all need to do for the interview. So.
Very good. Look forward to interviewing
Christopher
Yeah.
Johnson.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Thank you.
So once we get his application, I'll get with Mr. Jackaman and the mayor, interview like we did Mr. Apgar,
Correct.
and then council can ratify that nomination next month.
Sounds good. All right, back to the nomination of Rod Apgar. Can I get a motion?
Motion to nominate Ronnie Apgar to Planning and Zoning Commission.
And a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Take it to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. We're happy to welcome Rod Apgar to Planning and Zoning. I think he'll do a great job. Off to 6.3, contractor agreement between the City of Garden Ridge and the retail coach. Ryan, you want to kick this one off too?
Sure. Mayor, council, just on some points here, before Aaron, we have a presentation by Aaron about what has been done by Retail Coach in their first contract, and this would be a new contract moving forward for services. But the engaged Retail Coach to assist with attracting retail and development opportunities. This effort's focused on proactive development and recruitment rather than waiting for interest to come to the city. Their previous work was done with market analysis, developing and defining a trade area, assisting a market profile that outlined the city's retail potential. In the first year, they met all the deliverables, and we paid them out for the first year. I think in reviewing this, the value of the initial analysis is the foundational work that's been done by the retail coach already provides consumer spending patterns, market gaps, opportunities, types of retail and development that are realistically supported in this community. The new contract has new deliverables. The proposed agreement will be a new contract with these deliverables. The focus shifts from research to implementation and recruitment. Under the new contract, actively market the city to developers and retailers, assist with outreach to site selectors and development partners, help position the city competitively within the general regional market, support staff in facilitating conversations, negotiations, with prospective developers. The impact from an economic development standpoint, the goal is to attract quality retail and development, increase sales tax and property tax revenues, improve amenities, services for residents, strengthen the city's overall economic base. The role of city staff from this perspective, with them being sort of a strategic partner and as our consultants, that the city staff will continue to lead coordination processes and policy decisions. The retail coach will serve as the strategic partner extension of staff focused on recruitment and marketing positions. And then the contract represents an investment in long-term economic growth. The emphasis is on measurable outcomes, including developer interests, active prospects, and successful project recruitment. Now, there is language in the contract that if the retail coach is not meeting their deliverables, that we have the ability to terminate the contract at a certain point. But I'm in hope that the retail coach can take the next step for us and help us with the recruitment phase of getting a developer to open up shop here in Garden Ridge. And I think most importantly, most cities spend dollars to develop this type of recruitment process to attract, because our ultimate goal is to increase that sales tax base. Spending 20-some thousand on the first year, and this is about 20,000. We're talking about $40,000 investment if we finish this contract, with the hopes of $300,000 to $400,000 in future sales tax and $3 to $4 million in future development in a few years. So I think it's worth the investment. So Aaron's here to present what they've done, what they will do, and how they'll continue to help us out moving forward. Aaron?
Thanks for being here.
I'm dealing with cedar allergies. I was outside all day today at a construction site, and anyway, so hopefully I can get through this without sneezing a million times. But excited to be here, Ryan. I appreciate that introduction and just kind of talking about where things are headed here. A little bit of background on the retail coach. What I was thinking we would do today real quick here is just talk about kind of where we've been, where we're at right now, and where we're headed from a retail recruitment strategy standpoint. So I'll jump into that. But I know several of us are new here on council, or a couple of us, since I gave a similar presentation about a year ago. So real quick, just a little bit of background on the retail coach and about what we do. So the retail coach, we've been around for about 25 years. So we started in 2000, so going on our 26th year this year. I've been with the company going on my 20th year. And what we do is we work with municipalities to help you understand what are your retail opportunities, right? So what should go on this corner, this corridor? Is it suited for retail, or is it suited for something else? So we help communities identify what are those opportunities, and then we actually go out and recruit. To Ryan's point, we're getting into that recruitment phase. We've actually already started it, but getting out there, recruiting retailers, recruiting developers, entertainment users that should be here that aren't here, and then we coach our clients on success, on long-term success. So, like I said, been doing this for about 20 years, have done a lot of work in the region. I'm from the area. I live in Dripping Springs. My office is in Dripping Springs, so not far from here, know the area well. But want to talk to you about where we've been and what we've been focused on. So again, we've been partnered with the city for about a year now. And during that first part of the year, during the first part of that partnership, we really focused on a market analysis. we had to have an understanding of the market. I already had in several of my team. In fact, Nick, who's a partner with me on this project, he lived in Garden Ridge for a number of years when he was younger. So we had a pretty good understanding of the market. But things have changed over the years, and we wanted to get an understanding of, who are those residents? Who are those consumers that are shopping here? Who are those people that live here? What do they want to see, right? So to start with, we kicked this partnership off with a survey where we surveyed residents, really trying to get an understanding of what would they like to see in this market, right? How often are they leaving town? What are they leaving town for? Where are they shopping? So for some of the questions I have up here, what types of retailers would you like to see in Garden Ridge? And again, retail is retailers, it's restaurants, it's entertainment. That's what we consider retail. And you can kind of see the top response there with 80% or so of people reporting were sit-down restaurants. We'd love to have some sit-down restaurants. And the data backs that up, that people are leaving town almost on a daily basis, a lot of people on a daily basis, to go eat outside of Garden Ridge, right? So 80% said sit-down restaurants. Next on the list there was the fast casual restaurant concept. So think about the Panera Breads, the Chipotles. That's what we would consider that fast casual concept there. About 44% said they wanted to see that. And then you can kind of see the breakdown there as well. Grocery. That was something that was talked about a lot, was, hey, we'd like to have some sort of grocery here, whether it's an organic or a specialty grocer that we're going to H-E-B already, right? But hey, what are those things we could buy here in town, right? So you can see, really wanted to get an understanding as we look to identify and make some recommendations for uses on properties and in retail sectors that could be fits. And then we also asked people what areas do they shop in, where do they shop outside of the community? Shirts was the top response there, followed closely behind, as you would expect, San Antonio, Selma, New Braunfels, Live Oak, and Cibolo. So what was interesting is there's not one community that your people are leaving town for to go shop and eat, but they were, depending on what they were looking for, they were going different directions. One day they might go to New Braunfels if they wanted to eat at Herbert's in New Braunfels, or if they wanted to eat at, Chewy's, which I think, what is that? Live Oak, where Chewy's is, they're probably going to, so they might be just depending on the day. So it was good to see that kind of answer and get that. Thought this was interesting, but I can't think of the name of what this is called, but the larger that the font appears, or larger that the word appears on here, the higher concentration, the more it was mentioned by people. So we asked them what specific restaurant and retail brands would you like to see in Garden Ridge. You can see restaurants, that was big, but you can see some of the natural grocers. You can see Trader Joe's on the list. You can see Chipotle, Cava, local chains. A couple said fast food. A lot of that fast casual. Sprouts showed up on there. So again, focused on the grocery store, a little bit higher level of retail and restaurants, right? Not something that's in every community or right around you. So I thought that was interesting to kind of see that. But that's what we started with, was that survey, is to really just get an understanding where, what people want to see, what they were leaving for. And then we started diving into the data, right? I've been doing this, like I said, for about 20 years, and I used to ride around in the car on a regular basis with the site selectors for H-E-B. So about 20 years ago, I'd meet in their office down at the Arsenal. We'd go drive, and I'd bring packets of data, and I would say, hey, I want you to look at this community. Come look at this community. Tell me if you'll locate here. I've got a great site for you. And 9 times out of 10, they'd say, hey, hold on to your data. If we have a gut feeling that this is a good site, we'll go with it. That's how they used to operate. Well, things have changed. And now retail recruitment, now site selection is absolutely scientific, right? If a retailer or a restaurant's going to decide to locate right out here on the main corridor, they've got to know without a shadow of a doubt they can be successful. So this data, this market analysis information is incredibly important. So we looked at a couple of different things. We looked at a 10-minute drive time. How many people live within 10 minutes of Garden Ridge? You see that number's north of 20,000. Then we looked at a 15-minute drive time. When we jump to 15 minutes, that number jumps to 105,000. So now we have data that we can take to these prospects, to these developers, and we can say, look, okay, Garden Ridge might not be the largest community, might not have, as many people as you need, but then we start looking at the trade areas and where people possibly could come in from, and the incomes are stronger here. Within a 10-minute drive time, your incomes are still 140,000 within 10 minutes. And then when we look at the average household income in 15 minutes, they're 117,000. And then if we just look at the city, they're even larger. So putting this market analysis data together, we use cell phone data to determine these trade areas and what that looked like. And then we also looked at a demand analysis. So instead of just going to some of these restaurants that we've talked to, we've gone to them and we've said, look, hey, there's an opportunity for you. If you locate here, your opportunity, your demand, what is your current demand this year? And then we projected out what is that demand going to be 5 years from now. So we're able to give them actual factual data that shows there's an opportunity here. As an example, look at full service restaurants here. So the number one response on that survey was casual sit down restaurants or full service restaurants. Well, we're showing current opportunity, this is 2025 demand of $15 million. So you could support in the city limits of Garden Ridge, $15 million worth of restaurants. That's how much opportunity is here. But that number's growing. So just by 2030, we expect that number to be over 17 million in opportunity. So as we've started talking to these prospects, having this data to back it up is what they want to see. So the market analysis is key. But after we put all that analysis and data together, the next phase of that was understanding what sites are available. So we've had, I would say, 3 or 4 property owner meetings where we've actually met with a group of property owners that, many of your property owners that are interested in selling their properties or interested in leasing their properties or having them developed on. So you can see some of the flyers that are up there, some of the properties, one's a 13 acre, a 14 acre, an 8 acre. We put together these site profiles so that we could take these to developers, so that we could take these to retailers. It's got all of that information. What we found were a lot of your properties that maybe they were available, they weren't on the market or they weren't advertised that they were on the market. So now we've got that information out there to these prospects. So that's what we've spent a lot of time over the last year working on, as well as we've developed a retail dashboard or a website. While we're sitting here today, there could be a site selector for a retailer, for a developer on your city website. And the question is that economic development information on there, right? Is that retail, that market analysis data on there? It is now. We've got this dashboard. You can now find this information. So, anything and everything. It's kind of a one-stop shop for developers and retailers. So that's really what we've been working on. That's obviously at a high level, what we've been working on, but we've had multiple meetings with prospects. Where we stand right now is we've actually started recruitment. So we've gone out and touch base with retailers. We've touched base with developers. A lot of those were, phone calls, emails, texts to these prospects to start out with. We've also attended retail conferences. We attended the ICSC Red River Conference. Kelly, help me out. Last February, where we met some potential retailers, restaurants, developers that we're following up with. We, as a team at the Retail Coach, we also attended the ICSC Vegas Conference. These are places for us to get in front of prospects, retailers, restaurants, developers, and basically sell Garden Ridge, right? That, hey, there's an opportunity for you here. And if you do it right, this could be one of your best developments. So we've done that. We've been out there, but recruiting retail, it has to happen. I learned a long time ago when it comes to retail recruitment, it's not all about what you know, but it's about who you know, right? And being able to call up the developer that, developed that newest project in New Braunfels, or being able to call up the developer that is working on the newest project in Bernie that has an entertainment component to it, that has, a green space with retail or restaurant around it. Those are the types of retailers, those are the types of developers we want to be in touch with. So getting in front of them is key. So going forward, to Ryan's points that he made there, really starting to get aggressive and really starting to talk to prospects, retailers and developers, even on a more regular basis. We have a conference coming up. Again, it's the ICSC Red River Conference. Something unique about that this year, it's actually going to be in San Antonio. So it's going to be at the convention center in downtown next month. So we've talked about Garden Ridge is going to have a presence there. Our team at the Retail Coach will have a presence there. So we've actually already started working to set up meetings for our team and your team to meet with prospects. So again, this is retailers, developers, potential tenants for the market, and then you can see some of the others coming up there. But I think y'all attending, y'all having a presence there is a big step, right? A lot of the developers that we've talked to in the past, or retailers have talked to in the past, said, hey, we've actually looked at Garden Ridge. We looked at Garden Ridge 5 years ago, but we were told, hey, you can't do retail, right? You can't do development here in Garden Ridge, is some of the things that we've heard. So we've been able to, kind of go back and say, well, hey, this is an opportunity now. There's an opportunity for the right development to come in here, one that's going to just, provide that quality of life that residents are looking for in the community. So I think having a presence here at that conference is going to be huge. As it stands right now, we're working with 6 interested retailers retailers and restaurants that are interested in this market. Now, that doesn't mean all 6 are going to show up. I think there's a good chance we could land a few this year based on the conversations we've had. A couple of those are restaurants. One is an ice cream shop and then also a coffee shop that's interested in coming here as well. And then we're also having some conversations with some other retailers as well. And then also something I'm excited about is the developer context that we have. So we've got, it says 2 up here. We had a conversation with another developer today. So we've got 3 developers that have already started putting conceptual plans together on some of those properties we looked at. And having conversations with your city council liaisons for this project, and then also Ryan, about what that could look like. So I think the next couple of months are going to be busy from a developer standpoint. In fact, I was asked to schedule a meeting with the developer that I've got to get everybody coordinated so we can get dates on that. That came across today. So a lot of good things are happening. I think a big part of this was just getting the word out there to the retail real estate community that, hey, there are some opportunities here for the right type of development. So excited about that. And then lastly, I think I've got 2 more slides. We become part of your team. So as these things evolve, as these developers and retailers come in, we're not just pushing that off to y'all. We want to be, and we need to be part of those meetings to help kind of guide the process. Hey, this is what we've seen work in this community. This is what we've seen not work, and here's why. And as an example, we're working with one of the developers that's interested right now on actually helping them come up with what their conceptual plan should look like. So the most recent conversation with that developer focused on more green space. So not just having restaurants fronting the main corridor there, but having kind of setting those back a little bit where we can add some green space. We can have areas for kids, families to hang out, those sort of things. So those are the types of conversations we're having. Now, for real, the last slide is year 2. And to Ryan's point of what that would look like, just another recap on that. That would be another 12-month partnership of us working together. We're ahead of the game. We don't have to go back and create the new market analysis, or we don't have to just create a market analysis. We have that. We just need to update it. The new 2026 data is ready. As soon as we get that data ready, we're going to start sending that out to the retailers and developers. We would continue working with your property owners and consulting with them on best opportunities for their sites, what that looks like, regularly meeting with them. I mentioned ICSC Red River already. That's coming up February 18th in San Antonio. We're going to work on identifying new prospects. So we've done outreach to about 50 prospects to start with. We're going to be adding an additional 50 or more to that list, depending on who the fits are, who should be here that's not here. We're going to continue recruitment. We provide monthly updates. That's one thing that I think in talking with some of y'all, I think would be good to do going forward is to have a written monthly update that can be provided, at the end of the month or beginning of the month. I can work with y'all on that when your next council meeting is coming up so that y'all can have maybe that as part of a packet or just emailed out to you. But monthly updates is something we had talked about. And then the continued retail dashboard website, continuing to host that, continuing to keep that up to date. But that's it. That's what we're looking at. Would love to answer any questions if y'all have any.
One thing, Mayor and Council, I can attest to Aaron's statement is that I had talked to a developer out of San Antonio, and they said that they were really interested in this market, and they were told a few years ago that that they didn't want any new development in Garden Ridge. So getting the word out to know that we want to be able to develop now is key, because this large development who does a lot of retail in San Antonio essentially thought we were sort of closed for business.
Thank you, Aaron. Just a few thoughts. Everything just takes so long. This is just, it's just part of the business, you know, part of just the way these things roll. So I feel like we're making good progress. I think we've really succeeded and are succeeded in telling our story, you know, really getting it out there that Garden Ridge is open to retail. And then really kind of further defining that kind of as a second step by really defining our message. You know, we're open to this kind of retail, and this is what we would prefer. This is what our citizens have told us. This is what our citizens want to see. And then, you know, going out and finding those retailers and the developers that can deliver, you know,
Absolutely.
deliver those ideas, deliver those wishes, and identifying the prospects, which is kind of where we are with things.
Yeah.
And then it's making these connections between the retailers and the developers and the property owners. So, you know, I feel like we have made a lot of progress. You know, I also always think as retail coach as part-time staff. You know, we can't afford to have, you know, somebody focused entirely on economic development on staff. Many cities have that. They have economic development councils. We do not. So we've got some expertise with Ryan, and we've got, you know, what I consider a part-time staff person that's really helping us to move this forward in the right way. So certainly appreciate
Sure.
the
Well,
work
thank
that
you.
y'all have done.
Yeah, to that point, I think, you know, our goal is to be an extension of your team.
Right.
Right? And, you know, especially with us being as close as we are, being able to be at those property meetings, the developer meetings that are coming up, we want to be here. We want to be part of that meeting, or those meetings as they take place. So I'm excited about that. I think having Ryan's expertise too, you know, I've worked with Ryan in the past before, but having worked on developments with Ryan, I think that's going to be key going forward, because we're going to start getting to that. We're starting to get to that point where we're going to start seeing conceptual plans and things that are going to start going in front of planning and zoning and start going in front of these different things. So it's going to be, I think, all of us working together to hit that goal, right? And again, not all growth is good growth, right? So making sure it's good quality development.
Completely agree with that. And I know it's sometimes, we really wanted Aaron to make this presentation because it sometimes feels like Kelly and I are up here making, you know, non-committal statements about we've been working with this person or that person, and we really, you know, that a developer or that retailer, we're not able to really to speak freely about the people that we are talking to. For,
Sure.
You know, it could impact somebody's contracts and those things and the others. So, but if you ever have any questions, Aaron is available to you, as is Ryan.
Yeah, and
So
I think
please reach out.
We
Yeah.
included in that contract those written monthly updates, and I think
Perfect.
that'll be helpful for everyone.
Perfect.
To not put all of that, Mayor, to you and Councilmember Smith, not to put all of that on y'all, right? But so we have those written updates so you can see what's happening on a regular basis.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I just want
Yes.
to tell you, that was a good presentation. Thank you, Aaron, for coming out here and talking to us and connecting the dots. Because
Yes, sir.
when we had talked, that was kind of the things I was asking on some of the questions that I've been asked as well. But yeah, those monthly updates to all council members on where we're at on things would be great. So we know if we're asked by our constituents, I don't have to go somewhere. I already have this information right
Sure.
available to me. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you though, on one of the slides, you had other, and I was just curious what their other was on.
Was it a survey slide?
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
survey at the beginning. I didn't want to stop you. You were on a roll, but right there, what is the other? Please specify. What are you seeing that on those surveys that?
Yeah, so
They're
great
asking-
question. We'll get you a copy of that survey so you can see those actual individual responses
Okay.
there. On those, there was an option they could write something in. So there were things that came up on there like dry cleaners,
Oh, okay.
or they even listed, even though we were asking for specific sectors, they listed like specific retailers and restaurants. So that's mostly what that was. But we actually, I'll get a copy of the survey.
You're a good
too,
man.
so
I
you can see that.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then I do know that on the end of the contract, I was looking at phases. I didn't understand, there was a phase 6 and then there wasn't a phase 7, but it jumps to phase 8 on the agenda. Is that What is that?
We should have switched that up. It's phase 7 in our typical process involves downtown development.
Uh-huh.
In y'all's case, you don't have a traditional downtown, so that kind of got rid of that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for that. And it's really helpful.
Yes, sir. The first update will be at the end of this month, so you'll start seeing that first update at the end of this month.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate all your time tonight.
Yes,
Couple
sir.
questions for you. The survey response rate looks fairly low than what I would expect. Does that concern you at all on any of this?
So it's always hit and miss on surveys, to be honest with you. For a community of this size, that I actually thought it was pretty good, based on surveying that we've done in other communities. I'm trying to remember exactly how we distributed it. We distributed it on social media, through Garden Ridge, through social media.
Yeah, that's fine. I was
mean,
just wondering historically what kind of response rates you
Yeah.
get and if this is
It's hit
representative.
and miss. I wish we had more, to be honest with you. But I think it gave us, even though we didn't have as high of a response rate as we would like, I think it it helped kind of some of those notions that we expected, or those things we expected. This just kind of helped, pinpoint those. Like the restaurants, fast food was not very exciting to people. It was that fast casual, it was that sit down casual restaurant. Entertainment came up a lot. Actually, a lot of the entertainment uses were on that other portion of it as well. So, we might look at doing another survey as well. Now that we're a year into this, might see if we can get a little bit better response rate. That's actually a good idea, and that could be something we could do.
Okay, thanks. The other question I had when you, back to the, what do we call it, the scope of work? And there on the phase 4, it talked about targeting for retailers, and it said you're targeting national and regional brands, I think it was, and I was curious, what does that mean? Is that
Sure.
exclusive targeting, or is that just your primary? Are you looking at something that's a little bit more local, or are those on the table also?
All of the above. I'm a big believer that if you're going to have a successful retail community, you got to have a healthy mix, right? So you got to have a healthy mix of the locals, the regionals, and the nationals. So the nationals, you think about those are going to be like your Chipotle's, your Panera Breads, those sort of things. Regionals are going to be, obviously regional, but we're working with a group out of New Braunfels right now that's interested in opening an ice cream shop here. So that would be somebody that's in a regional. And then we even more locally, like looking at shirts, Cibolovs, there's somebody that has 1, 2, 3 locations, getting them to locate again.
Yeah, that was my main concern, because I
Yeah.
didn't see local on there at all. I want to make sure we're still doing
Oh,
that.
it is, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember the terminology, but one of the retailers that we are working with, and have been working with almost from the get-go, mentioned having as part of their development, the ability for micro kind of startup things. Do you remember that discussion?
I do. It was.
I don't remember what the terminology was.
Like the business incubators?
Incubator.
Right,
type.
so an
Yeah.
incubator, spaces to, incubator for local small businesses to, get their foot in the door.
Which is a great idea.
Yeah,
We've
I
seen
think
that
so
work
too.
well in a lot of communities.
Yes, and I think that would be great.
And
Any other? I'm
Last
sorry,
question, do we have copies of the slides? Can we get these?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was going to ask one more thing too, not to cut you off, but on the conferences, can you explain to those of us that haven't been to one,
Sure.
what has done this? What's the goal of it, and what's the purpose?
Sure. Great question. So at these conferences, let's see if I can go back here. There we go. You kind of see it's not your typical, hey, we go to a conference and we attend and we just hope to, walk by the booth of Panera Bread or something like that. Now, all of these retailers, all these restaurants, they have big booths like that. But our goal is to set up meetings with them ahead of time. So this is a place, we might get to talk to the real estate broker for Panera Bread, 10 times a year via email. But this is a place where we can all get together, once a year and have face-to-face conversations. So everybody has a booth. We'll have a booth. Actually, Garden Ridge will have a booth this year. We're right? Yep. So Garden Ridge will have a booth. So we'll be able to meet at our booth, similar to that picture up there, at the Garden Ridge booth. Site selectors, real estate investors will come by and meet us. So it's kind of a place to get, everybody in the retail real estate world together in one place, so you can start having face-to-face. And the thing I like about it being in San Antonio, In previous years, it's been in Dallas. What I like about San Antonio is this is home for y'all, right? So a lot of those investors, a lot of those regional investors, regional developers are going to be there, and I think just seeing y'all out there is going to go a long way. Hey, they are open for business for the right type of development. So does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, definitely. It's like it's in our backyard, so yeah, that is good that it's close to Garden Ridge, is right.
There's also a part of this conference where it's kind of like speed dating. I've never done speed dating before, but what you see in the movies, right? So for a couple of hours during the conference, you'll see they'll put tables out, and a retailer will come drop their a little placard with their logo on it, and basically you get 3 minutes to pitch Garden Ridge, and you just go, one by one, almost like speed dating. So it's just a good way to get in front of a lot of those prospects that maybe we just talked to on the phone or email. Yeah.
Yes, we've already reserved an exhibit space. We'll have a booth presence. Cindy's working on how this is going to look with a background illustrating City of Garden Ridge. We'll have all the information and data present on the table for anybody to grab a handout who's ever interested in all the market analysis for Garden Ridge. So anybody there who's attending can pick up all the data they need to know about Garden Ridge. And it's important to have a presence there, especially because of the proximity of San Antonio being there. A lot of other neighboring cities are all going to have a booth there and have a presence, and we need to have a presence as well. And just to remind you, Mayor and Council, we're going to end up doing a budget amendment for this new contract for Retail Coach because we didn't have funds budgeted, but we plan to do a budget amendment around April for other items, including this one.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Well, I just wanted to add to Brian's question. So it is a fantastic, like you were saying, Ryan, it's a fantastic networking opportunity. And, and last year was, I was kind of like, wow, like you walk in, it's just overwhelming, right? But you start meeting people, right? And so I'm assuming that I'll probably start seeing some of the same people and re-meeting people that I made last year and start to create lasting relationships as well as anybody else that's with us. And obviously he has those. But I want to comment on your presentation. So yes, I love the monthly updates. And thank you for driving down here. I know the traffic can be brutal, so especially this time of day. But I think it's a testimonial to what you guys do. And how much better you can sell us than we probably can because of the network you already have, and then bringing us into and kind of nursing us into those relationships. The presentation you gave, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just a testament to how good of a salesperson you are out there for us, right? So, but yeah, I mean, we're gaining momentum, and I mean, we need to keep it going. It's
Well, and I think just to add to that, I think it's definitely a team approach because having Mayor Kelly, you've been at some of the meetings as well, and then Ryan, I think back to that last property owners meeting that we had, and I feel like that went that was just such a great meeting where we had conversations, but we got to just kind of collaborate on what it would look like, and having Wes there and Tony and other property owners there, providing their input on what they'd like to see and what they've done in other communities and what they've seen. So I think we need to keep that team approach, just like at ICSC Vegas, when we're meeting with these prospects, having a council member and Ryan or two or present at those meetings, I think goes a long way to really show to these prospects that, hey, we're serious. We'd love to see something like this happen because some of them, again, tried to do something 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and we want them to know there's that opportunity now for something to happen.
right, and the camaraderie that we've already built, just locally with our property owners. So
Sure.
Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, can we get a motion? Can I get a motion? Anybody, be a motion to approve the contract agreement?
motion to approve Retail Coach's Year 2 service contract.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks so much for being here.
thank you all very much. Appreciate this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. On to 6.4, agreement between City of Garden Ridge and Half Engineering related to a trail system design at Paul Davis Park. Ryan?
Mayor and Council, as a reminder, the city received the Texas Parks and Wildlife Grant for a trail system at Paul Davis Park. This is with Half Engineering to do the design and prepare construction documents for us. If you see there in front of you, it's the letter and proposal from Half, including the contract itself. There's some minor revisions that I went back to them based on Dan's suggestion in that contract. But at the end of the day, we submitted to Texas Parks and Wildlife that we would do a design for about, I think, 22 or 23,000. This one here is for right around, I'm sorry, I had it right in front of me, 27, but that includes the environmental portion for like 5,000 or 6,000 that we may or may not have to do. We just don't know yet. Texas Park and Wildlife may mandate that we do that, so until we submit this proposal and agreement to them that we're moving forward in the design. And so my goal is to have this design, hopefully by the end of February, that we're going out for bid construction, that we could have this trail system in place by May. That's my goal, but you know how some things work. But we definitely should have this done in 4 to 5 months based on this design and then having them prepare the construction documents for us.
Thanks, Ryan. Any questions? I know y'all didn't have a lot of time to look at the contract. I will tell you that Ryan and I met with Half Engineering, and the contract has been reviewed by our city engineer. I'm sorry, our city attorney and our city engineer, I think at some point. No, not our city engineer, just city attorney. And Ryan worked really hard to get the prices down. So I think we've got it at a reasonable level to start. And again, Ryan's hopeful for May. I'm just hopeful that we get it done in this year's fiscal, this fiscal year, because it's budgeted for this fiscal year.
There's my timeline and the actual timeline.
Right.
So I try to work within my timeline.
Right.
But I've been told they can put this design together pretty quick and prepare the construction documents. So there should be no reason why it should or should not be delayed moving forward. And like I said, I'd love to have the trail in place before the summer.
And do we need to make a decision on this tonight? Is that what you're recommending?
Yeah, just to move forward with, I'd assume, Dan, as far as them having me, authorizing me to sign the agreement with Half Engineering for the trail system design at Paul Davis Park. Correct, Dan?
That's correct.
Council, any questions? Right.
Yeah, I guess, so this is for a design for the trail system at Paul Davis Park. Is that that's what this is, right? That's what we're talking about?
It's for the design and prepare construction documents for going out for bid. And if you recall, I think in the budget, we had 166,000 in there for this, which 33,000 was our match. But yes, as the mayor mentioned, it's in our current budget, and we want to get this done within our current fiscal year, regardless of my timeline.
Y'all want to tackle this tonight, or do we need to spend a little more time with it? That may push Ryan back until June. Okay.
And I apologize during the holidays. I know, I was out working working one day with Marissa while I was out on getting this agenda packet put together and make sure all the information is in front of you that maybe should or should not have an agenda summary. And like I said, there was a couple of minor comments from Dan that I sent back to them to revise within the contract itself, but it's not going to actually change the scope or dollar amount.
But Ryan, if I remember correctly, I think they had Florida has been.
Yeah, well, that's one
And it
thing,
was
yeah,
just,
so.
it was, I was just being nitpicky, really, doing what attorneys do. And so, I mean, it wasn't anything substantial or any, really think of any substance that I would remember off the top of my head.
Right, so we were kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for them to return the documents, but the holidays, just, you know how that goes.
Is it going to delay it significantly if we push it down to one more council meeting, or what's the time frame that we're looking at it, just so everybody could read it, is what I'm asking? Would it really mess things up, is what?
No, I mean, it just pushes the timeline a little further. I mean, I had asked them if I let them know I was taking this to the council meeting in January, so I asked next steps, timeline for completion of design, prepare construction documents, and I was told that could happen by the end of February, early March. So that just, you just push it out 30 more days, that's all. So.
What do y'all think? I'm comfortable with another month's review. I'm comfortable with going the opposite direction and taking Dan and Ryan's advice and opinion on the contract. We can go either way.
I've got all of my questions answered, so I'll go with you, Mayor. I'm comfortable with pushing it forward now, but I would say it's something of a big enough impact. If there's one person on the council up here that wants to wait a month, we wait.
Right. The goal is just within the fiscal year, although we'd like it sooner.
Yeah, I mean, its scope and price isn't gonna change. It's just
Right.
some language in the contract. And can there be approval based on changes that city attorney made and or requested? Something along those lines?
So this isn't even the final version that's in front of us?
As far as the contract, no, it doesn't have the revisions, the minor revisions in the contract that Dan suggested, but the actual
Are we
letter-
talking about terms and conditions, or are we talking about the deliverables on the first 7 pages or the last 7 pages? What are we talking about? Terms and conditions, that's fine.
Nothing of substance was really changed. They had Florida in there.
There was some
and
language
just
in there about-
little ins and odds that I didn't.
Okay, I understand all that, but was it in the terms and conditions that were in the first part of the contracting, or are we talking about deliverables that were changed?
No.
The first 7 pages is what they're trying to say.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Like, it calls us a general law city on the first line
I
of the
got
first
it.
page.
The terms and conditions, I can barely read them anyway. It's all in lawyerese. That's fine. I was worried about the deliverables there on the last few pages.
As far
Right,
as
it's more the
deliverable
boilerplate
scope
stuff.
and price don't change, it's,
No, nothing of substance changes. Again, I was just being nitpicky, trying to, make sure that they do.
There's two things. Nothing of substance changes, but,
No.
the council really hasn't had a lot of time to look at that if they want to dig a little bit deeper. Again, I can go either way.
I'm good either way.
I mean, I've been speed reading it for the last few minutes, and I'm okay as long as I've read through all the deliverables and stuff. I'm good with that. We're talking about design for a trail. It's not that big of a deal in my mind. It's the breathtaking part is the, 10 pages of terms and conditions that's in the front. But as I said, if it's gone through a good legal review, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, sounds like everybody's good with moving forward. Can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve the agreement between Garden Ridge and Half Engineering related to trail system design at Paul Davis Park.
Can I get a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. The motion carries, and I'm excited that we're going to have a trail eventually. This year we will. It'd be awesome. Moving on to 6.5, resolution number 540-012026, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, participating in the Guadalupe County Master Drainage Plan under the Texas Water Development Board Flood Infrastructure Fund Flood Management Evaluation Program. Ryan, you want me to?
Yes, Mayor, you can take this one.
Okay, so we got an email from Guadalupe County, and they are, as it says, preparing an application to the Texas Water Development Board under their Flood Infrastructure Fund. And as part of that application, they are required to notify and coordinate with all eligible political subdivisions within the project watershed area, including cities, water districts, river authorities, and other units of local government. So we were contacted because there is some part of our area that is within the project watershed for them to reach out and, you know, get some kind of formal, you know, resolution. Our participation doesn't create any obligation for funding. What it really does is just keeps us in the loop. You know, we're just acknowledging, hey, yes, we want to be, you know, included in the planning portion, you know, as much as it affects us, which I don't think is going to be very much. So there's no obligation here. It's just they are fulfilling their administrative requirements and their Texas Water Development Board requirements.
Is there an obligation for one of us to attend their meetings? Or-
There's the opportunity, but not an obligation. And that's the other thing that's incorporated in this resolution, that the mayor
Yeah.
and the city manager have the opportunity to participate.
But to do this, Mayor, the law requires us to take a formal action. That's
Right.
why, and I would sum this up to just simply being housekeeping.
Right, I
This
would
is
agree.
just protecting ourselves.
Right. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I was just curious on, it says Guadalupe County, that would be Gomao, it would be Guadalupe? I'm just curious. I'm looking at the document, just because I thought we were in Comau.
We are, but I can answer this one. Guadalupe County's right there. A lot of their watershed that feeds it directly comes from where? Wherever you're sitting. Got it. Flows from Garden Ridge into the Canal Creek and down into Guadalupe County.
So yes, it's really just sort of a rubber stamp that they're required and that we're required to do. So, anybody have any questions? Can I get a motion?
I'll do the motion. I recommend approving resolution number 540-012026, resolution of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, participating in the Guadalupe County Master Drainage Plan under the Texas Water Development Board Flood Infrastructure Fund Flood Management Evaluation Program.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you. On to 6.6, Community and Event Center Agreement. Ryan?
Mayor and Council, this item is in regards to the Community and Event Center Agreement. What I wanted to cover with you is a few things here. We're specifically asking council to approve a modification from 1,800 to 2,000. Now, previously, it was an option for someone renting the facility to take a $200, I guess you'd say, deduction if they wanted to set up and tear down and clean, which at this point is probably something that we don't want anyone doing. So the change includes set up, tear down, and cleaning now. So it's kind of a policy that's been incorporated into here now, which eliminates that $200 option, basically. So previously, renters could opt out of the $200 setup, tear down fee Moving forward, staff will handle all setup and tear down. The change is being made for liability, safety, and risk management purposes and protect the facility and its equipment. We have new cleaning services. We have a new professional cleaning crew assigned to the community center, ensure consistent standards, quicker turnaround, events, and overall maintenance of facility. As far as the policy and agreement review, staff conducted a comprehensive review of the community center rental policy and agreement with Erin on board as an interim. She's been looking at this agreement and with her experience with other cities, especially with Schertz, has done some modifications to the agreement itself. This included as reviewing best practices, operational guidelines used by comparable cities, as I mentioned, Schertz. As a result, the rental agreement has been updated to reflect clear expectations, improved processes, and of course, standards related to renting a facility like ours. Operational improvements, we're working to streamline the rental process, enhance operating procedures, ensure rental rates remain competitive, and prepare for implementation of a reservation software. So now that we have the reservation software, we need this change by council approved so we can start the implementation of the software itself. You know, as you know, and as I've talked about, we've invested over $70,000 in improvements to the community center. So, you know, we want to make sure that we are protecting our investment. These updates improve the quality of the facility and make it more attractive for events. Protecting this investment is a priority. The updated fee structure helps support ongoing maintenance and operations. Market competitiveness, again, rental rates are reviewed to ensure they're consistent with neighboring cities. The proposed fee remains competitive while better reflecting the true cost of operations. But at the end of the day, we're making this modification to make sure that the facilities being under Public Works sets up, tears down, and then the cleaning crew does the cleaning, and again, protects anyone from potential risk or liability when they're renting the facility. So, you know, I'd like to, Erin and Cindy have done an incredible job to review this rental agreement to get the ball in motion so we can prepare a new rental agreement when people are looking to rent the community center, to get this reservation system online and implemented here soon. And then we will have further modifications maybe to the rate schedule or fees as we move forward. But this is after Erin being here for, you know, about a month, kind of looking at how we have done things, and just essentially looking at operational practices and kind of tightening up those areas that probably are in our best interests with the city moving forward. So any questions, Mayor and Council?
Just comments. I know even before we did the renovations and the upgrades, our rates were ultra competitive with the surrounding area, and now with the upgrades, even with a little bit of the bump, it's still very, very competitive, so. But did you get that second subwoofer for us though, or just the one?
So, you know, like I said, Council, I eventually, you know, we're gonna be bringing other, I guess it's Cindy, I'd say a rather rate structure down the road as we continue with this process. But I think the key to this is making sure that, you know, that we have a rental agreement that explains to the renter exactly what they're renting. Things are broken down accordingly, and they know what their expectations are with our policy when they rent the facility out. So it's kind of defining and clearing up any of those expectations when you do rent the facility. So that's a very positive thing, and I appreciate Erin and Cindy's work on all this.
Yes, a big thank you to Cindy and Erin. I know it was a lot of work to try to put this together and make it all make sense. It's a lot of information, and I'm excited we're going to be able to do this online.
And as I saw an example of what a neighboring city has, the next step with Cindy's help and Erin's help is we're going to put together a marketing plan, brochure to send out to try to attract people who want to use it in the future. So if we emulate anything like that, it'll be pretty successful, I believe.
Any questions?
guess the only question that I have is, I understand that you said that the city staff will take on the tear down and setup.
Yes.
That doesn't put any hardship on our current staff?
No,
is
I mean,
my question.
facilities, as far as Public Works, was already doing that. This just sort of clear defines exactly what people rent it, they expect the layout to look like. And if I'm wrong, Cindy, you can jump in, but this new reservation system, when someone rents it online, they kind of say, here's what we're expecting to do for our layout, and it sort of gives you a roadmap, and then facilities knows how to set it up moving forward. And it helps also with rental, because we could probably have a quicker turnaround. We can probably rent out the facility more often than just some of the normal days, being Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to help with streamlining the process through setup, tear down, and cleaning. And it's a new cleaning crew, and I understand they've done a good job as far as being on board for a short time as well.
Okay, any other questions? None? Can I get a motion?
So Dan, just for council's purposes, they're approving the agreement with the amended rate of
Yes.
2,000 versus 1,800.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
Y'all get that? Approving the agreement with the amended rate, jumping from 8, you got it? Okay.
I move to approve the rental agreement for the community center from 1,800 to 2,000.
Second.
Yeah, and again, council, it just doesn't allow for the option to
Clean up yourself. really.
clean, tear down at $200, which was before.
Yes, we're taking that on. So any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. The ayes have it. The motion carries.
Real quick, if you have any questions about operations or anything, I would, contact or set you up to talk to Erin directly about, as we move forward for further, I would say, streamlining and improvements at the community center, because she's serving sort of an advisory role in the interim. So, thank you.
Okay, on to 6.7, discussion and possible action to change the city limit boundary lines between the city of Garden Ridge and Comal County, more particularly described as 811, 8123, 8129, 8135, 8141, 8147, and 8153 Whisper Oaks. Ryan?
Mayor and council, in your packet, you have an email there as a request for this item from Larry Rylander, and we have Jason Rylander here. They're here to answer any questions you have as a result of this request, to, move the boundary lines and why they are requesting this. So if you'd like, I can have them come up and formally request this.
Y'all want to come forward? Thanks, Larry and Jason Rylander.
And as you see in front of you, there's an ordinance that we have to approve this via ordinance that's in front of you as well. But go ahead, Jason, sir, later.
Yeah, hi, good evening. So first of all, thank you all for taking a few minutes to look at this. We're simply here to request the boundary line adjustment between our properties, 8111 through 8153 Whisper Oak. Right now, the city boundary cuts about 100 foot into the rear of these lots, okay? And we're just asking for the boundary line to be moved up to the existing rear of the property line. This change would correct an unusual situation, and it would make the property simpler to manage and provide clarity for both the city and us.
Any questions? I mean, long story short, they've got about 100 feet of property in Garden Ridge, and the rest of it is along those properties, the rest of it in Comal County. It's kind of a weird, one of those things, we don't know how it happened.
Right.
Any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion? It's going to be to approve the ordinance, is that correct?
Motion to approve ordinance number 247-012026.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? The ayes have it, the motion carries. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for
Thank y'all.
coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Easy, thanks. Okay, that brings us to 7, citizen comment period. We have anybody who would like to make a comment, not required to sign up, but must sign in with the city secretary after speaking. Anyone? Okay, then on to 8, announcements on items of community interest. Mayor and city council members may comment, make general announcements, or provide progress reports on events, activities, committee board meetings, or other items of community interest. Kelly?
I'll do my chamber update here. So Friday, January 9th, 10:45 a.m., Dave's Hot Chicken Ribbon Cutting and Shirts. So if anybody wants to attend that and welcome a business in a fellow city, that'd be great. Thursday, January 22nd, the new Tri-County Chamber of Commerce office ribbon cutting. So they have a new office now that doing a ribbon cutting for. So it'd be great to have a great showing for that. If we can get some more people out there, that'd be fantastic. And then we have there's a place called the Hitching Post. Have you guys been out there yet? So it's the new restaurant and bar at Retama Park. And they are February 26th. They're having a mixer. I think it's 5:30 to 7:30. And then we need, and as a city, we still, I would suggest that we set a ribbon cutting date for our newly renovated community center. That's all I have.
Thank you. I'm going to give a quick update, and you can chime in, Todd, as well, and Ryan, on our advisory council, our aggregate projection operation advisory council meeting. It was a good meeting. We're starting to move things forward and really talk about goal setting and how we can collaborate on some things. What we have decided is that we kind of need to change the format of that council. As it is set up, it's really hard to get anything done outside of those meetings because of TOMA. So if Ryan and I would like to meet with a citizen to discuss ideas, we're in violation of TOMA because we formed a quorum. So it's making it really difficult for us to work together on things. And that includes, the Quarry membership as well. So, and I also think the format is maybe a little discouraging for citizen attendance. You look at it and you realize that you're just kind of looking at people speaking. You've got one opportunity to comment. So we're looking at moving it towards a more dynamic kind of workshop. We're working on what that looks like.
Workshop. I like the term workshop because the previous format looked like this.
Right, and it's intimidating.
Process I had on it was it's going to be absolutely the best way to cover the information. We just have to make sure the meeting doesn't get taken over by people who want to, what's the right term, constantly complain about the quarry without coming up with any solutions. That would be the politest way I can think of putting that.
Right, it needs to be productive.
Yeah.
But we're finding in the current format,
It's hard to be productive.
It's hard to be
very-
productive because we just have to do everything out,
Yep.
in that meeting, and the meetings are quarterly, so that's a big gap in time for us to do that. So that's the update there. Anyone have any other updates they'd like to mention?
Well, we need to figure out who's bringing pizza to the next meeting, the next quarry meeting. There was a lot of pizza.
I can just mention that I'm going to have my next coffee event at the end of the month, January the 26th at 9 a.m. I want to thank Linda and the library for allowing me to use that facility for my event Monday at the end of the month. The other ones I've had have been very productive, great Q&A sessions, and I'm looking forward to others that to follow after that. So then that's all I have. Thank you.
Kendra, do you want to mention the Veterans Coffee?
We will also have a Veterans Coffee with Jim and I on January 13th at 9 a.m. So if you know veteran business owners, veterans come out and have a chat with us.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Jim?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, it's just a chance to visit, talk, form a little camaraderie, and maybe suggest some things the city could help with. So, excited about that one. Anyone else? Okay. Then we are on to 9, executive session. The city council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 55.1071 on the following item: Craig Dillard versus City of Garden Ridge, cause number C2024-1193, 726. Do y'all want to convene now or wait a few minutes? Marissa, are we online again? Okay, we are at 10 business items. The city council will reconvene into regular session upon conclusion of the executive session and may recall any items posted for executive session for action as necessary. We are back in regular session at 7:40. We aren't taking any action from executive session. So 11 is adjournment. Being there no further business, the city council regular meeting is adjourned at 7:40 PM. Do I get to gavel?